Okay. Hi everyone. How are we doing? Good evening. How have we been? Can you all hear me? It's nice to be back. Oh wow. Okay, so hello everyone. How are we doing today? Today we're going to be talking about typography and color theory. It had to be repeated twice for emphasis, a mistake, but I mean, how are we all doing? Great to be here. Can anyone just tell us what they learned in the last class. Can you just talk to me? I mean, how's it been? It's been one day away from you guys. Did you miss me? What did you learn? How was your day? Are you guys still confused? Were you able to rewatch the video? How are we doing today? I just want to hear from one or two of you. Just talk to me. How you doing? Oh, you missed me. Thank you, Martha. So today is promising to be just as exciting as our last class. And to be honest, I mean, you're going to learn a lot. So now we're actually finally diving into UI. By God's grace, next class will be more of practical. So today we're going to be learning about color and typography. But before then, I call out typography branding. That's literally where they come in. And I hope you guys downloaded Figma. Have you tried creating an account? Have you tried registering? Did you have any issue registering? If you sent me a message and I haven't responded, I will get to it. But have you guys created your Figma account? I can see designer Fola in our comment section. Let me just wink and keep quiet. All right, so I guess we're all good to go. All right. So today we're going to be talking about color and typography. And before we talk about color and typography, we'll be taking a dive into what branding is. So we'll be starting with what branding is, okay? So what is branding? Branding is a process of creating a unique identity for a product or service. It includes visual elements, messages, and the overall experience. And why is a brand important? It's important because it creates recognition, it builds trust, conveys values and mission, and creates differentiation of a product in a crowded market. So, what's the simplest way to put this, right? Branding is literally the identity of your product or brand. And what is a brand? Who you are, what you're selling, what you represent, basically. So if you are building a product for a company, if the product is the company in itself, then the product has to rest upon the brand of the company. And what's the brand of the company? What does the company stand for? What are the goals of the company? What is the mission of the company? What does the company do? So all of this contributes to the brand. And if we are going to physically represent that brand, then we have to start talking about the colors we use, the fonts we use, the style we use, and elements we'll be using in the design overall. I hope you understand that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be having breaks in between. So for every break, just gather all your questions and pour so you can attend to each one of them. Because during the class, it's easy for them to get lost in the comment section. All right. So another way to put this, let's look at meta now. What does meta represent? Connecting people, okay? And how do they connect people? They have created different products to connect people, or to connect two people in different ways, or two or more people in different ways. And then we have WhatsApp, which connects people by, you can make a call, you can type a text message, you can talk about your day and things like that. And then we have Instagram, can post, okay, this is how my week went, this is how my April went. They have Facebook, so you can talk about, oh, I am selling so and so. I'm running an ad for my business. So they just have different ways to communicate, to join people together. And these individual products even have their own brand, such that Instagram has its own logo, WhatsApp has its own logo, Meta has its own logo, and they operate as individual entities, even though all of them are under Meta, which kind of like a similar goal, which is connecting people to other people, connecting businesses to other business, connecting friends, family in different ways possible. So that's kind of what a brand. So when let's pick Instagram now, the logo for Instagram, the colors of Instagram, if you go through the app, you see different ways they put the purple all over, and then places where it will be too much, you have the logo written in either fully Instagram in the cursive form or as a logo of a camera, just maybe in the when you're going through your apps. The same way, maybe where color cannot enter, you just have it as black and white. The same way where Instagram has some type of style, the choice of icons they use, the fonts they use, and everything like that makes up the brand. And you see it's a bit more active and playful compared to Facebook. Facebook is more corporate, and maybe that's why you find more older adults on the platform and you find more younger adults. So your brand too can also target audience, which I think we mentioned a bit in our last class, where maybe the target audience for your brand or for your product is the older generation or the older adults. So whatever colors you use, which we'll talk about in this class, should be chosen carefully. And then if for the younger generation, your choice of colors will influence that. So same with the fonts you use, same with the pictures you use, same with the style. Do you want to use 3D? Do you want to use 2D? And things like that. So when we enter more of UI in itself, which we'll be treating in the next class, we'll know, okay, this is what 2D is, 3D is, and stuff like that. So yeah, I hope we're all together. If we're together, just give me a thumbs up and I'll continue. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so let's look at Netflix in terms of branding. So Netflix, you can see Netflix as a whole, right? We have Netflix as Netflix. Like we have two logo variations for Netflix, or two major logo variations for Netflix. Netflix written literally as the name, which is his logo, and Netflix as an icon, which helps with apps and smaller spaces where the full name will not be readable at a glance. We also have the font for Netflix. You can see how the font they choose is not cursive, it's not jumping around, is a sans serif, and it's just minimalist and just simple, straight to the font. And it literally has its own font, Netflix Sans Medium. Like how cool it is to have a font created because of your brand. So we have the Netflix fonts, okay? And then you can see how they go about their pictures. We can see the red, we can see the white, we can see the black, which is consistent in different forms. Okay, oh, you're excited about the quiz today. All right. And then we can see on the building, the choices of pictures they use. You can see how they just kept, there was always a let's say a focus image, even though there were like extra things. And then even though there are many images, they still found a way to still be minimalist through it all. You can see on the bus, we can see on different platforms, on their websites, on their TV, on the phone, how to just keep it straight to the point, minimalist, clean, not like you go to maybe something, maybe one pirate site, and then you just see everywhere, like colors everywhere. You're even trying to read which one is the movie I want to watch, which one is the movie I don't want to watch, and you click on something to now take you to betting site or whatever. It's clean, it's original. They're not here to cheat, they're here to do business, which is watching film to your satisfaction. And then there's even the sound branding, like one time you hear it, your mind, someone is watching Netflix around me. So that's how intentional they were with their branding, such that they have an identity. Anytime we see something like this, even though we don't see the logo, the first thing that comes to our mind is Netflix. The first thing that comes to our mind is not Ethel, even though they're using red. The first thing that comes to our mind is not UBA, is Netflix, because somehow they found a way to brand themselves. And that's literally the importance of branding, giving your product an identity, giving your company, yourself, because you could literally brand yourself, an identity. So let's move on. So let's talk about branding in UI. So when you talk about branding in UI, yes, it's literally branding in UI. And how do we go about this? We make use of something we call a design system. Remember in our last class, we talked a bit about design systems. So we'll dive in a bit more today about design systems. So what is a design system? A design system is a collection of reusable design elements components, and guidelines that help ensure consistency and efficiency across a product user interface. Using layman terms, these are where you find the colors, the buttons, the fonts, so that anybody that comes, they have like a guide to help them understand the product, as well as know how to make changes or update a product. Then a design system is also okay. Yeah. All right. So this is an example of a design system. Remember in our last class, I mentioned a design system could be complex and could be simple. So when it's complex is where you have as far as the shadow for the button, as far as the effect of the button, like it can be as detailed to the gradient of the stroke of the button. But to keep it simple, just know your fonts, know your colors, know your spacing, then know your buttons, and maybe how to feedback like error states, maybe success state, and then probably maybe how your tabs look like. So that's like a basic design. You can even still break it down. So okay, just color and typography, and you're good to go. But it's bigger than this, definitely. So this is just a simple design system, very functional. And then on the right, you can see it applied. So the right, I don't know if you can see it, a bit small, is a login screen, okay? And then on the login screen, we have the tab, which we can see from the design system. We have the input boxes, which you can see from design system. We have the buttons, which you can see from design system. So everything on the left kind of contributed to how the right looks like, because we're using the color of the brand, and then we know, okay, when it's active, when it's inactive, we know the button color to use, and then everything just comes together basically. So this is an example of how a design system works. Then on the far right, we get to see how it is in Figma. So when we've defined all of this, right, it's best to create styles. So this is what makes it reusable. Yeah, find their components, but then it's much more easier where I could just click on title, and then I can choose the text that I want for title without having to start going back that, oh, was it Montserrat? Oh, was it Poppins? Oh, was it Helvetica? I can just click on title, and then the styling for title comes up. We'll still go into Figma and we'll understand this a bit more. So that's how design systems are. So you can define your colors, define your effect, define your text, define your buttons, create variations for your dashboards and things like that. So yeah, that's it basically. I hope we're still together, okay? All right. So before we go into colors, are we still together? Do we have any questions? Do you understand what branding is? Do you understand how design system supports branding in UI? Are we good? Okay. So let me just go through if we have any questions. Hero, you said, can we say our names are brands? Your name alone contributes to your brand. It's part of your brand, but it's not the brand. It's part of your brand, but it's not the brand, because I mean, there's no way you can know a product without knowing the name of a product. So the name is part of it. Same as the colors of the product is part of it. Same as the font is part of it. So the name alone is not the brand, but it contributes to the brand, because now anyway you hear Apple, before your mind will even go to Apple fruits, your mind is already going to iPhone Apple, MacBook Apple. So it shows that the name actually is part of the brand, but it's not the brand. The brand itself is Apple iPhone, Apple MacBook, Apple iPad, and things like that. Okay. All right. So, Ayo, you said to talk about branding and design system. We just talked about it. Do you have any specific question you want me to talk about? All right. So let's move on. So let's talk about colors. And this is quite interesting. Could look a bit tricky, but trust me, it's simpler than it looks. And I'll try my best to explain it as much as possible. So let's talk about colors. So what are colors? I mean, we hear color, and there's this there's this thing they say, describe colors to a blind man. I don't know how, but to the best of my ability, I'll try to talk about colors, okay? So color is the visual perception created by the way an object reflects or emits light. So when light shines, I don't know how many of us were in science class. When light rays shine on an object, whatever comes back is kind of the color. So the object will absorb every other color and reflect the actual color of the object, if that makes sense. So what you see when light hits an object is the color of that object, and it's fundamental element in design. Apparently, digitally, you literally choose your colors. It's not just whatever light shines on it. But yeah. So, and then it's a fundamental element in design and is a significant role in communication and aesthetics. So, yes, colors can communicate and colors make things beautiful. So, in UI design, colors help in guiding users' attention. So, you can use it to call someone's attention to look at something, note something, and can also create um exactly. It can also create emotional responses like buy now, and it's blinking, shining, and your hand is just, oh yeah, I'll buy it now. So, and then at the same time, you can just come on the site and just be happy. I don't know if you guys have seen all these spa sites that maybe have all these green, all these nature sites that you see the colors of leaves and maybe even actual leaves just decorating the site, and you're just happy, you're just peaceful. So yes, colors can create an emotional response or an emotional feeling, and all of this establishes a brand's identity. So yes, a color is very important, and um it actually gives a perception of the brand. So it contributes to the identity of the brand. And we'll talk about that more as we go on. So now, what's color psychology? We've talked about what a color is. Let's talk about the psychology of color, what color can do to someone. So, um, colors are powerful in evoking emotions and shaping user perceptions. In UI design, when you understand the emotional and psychological impact of colors, it's easy for you to create the right experience. So we'll still look at a proper case study for restaurants, but before we do that, I know we've all heard that, oh, green is for nature, for calm, for envy, blue is for trust, dispensable, red is for anger, for passion, for youth, orange, you're just happy, optimism. Oh gosh, English wants to fail me. I reject it. For warm, balanced success, yellow is for cheerful, fun, friendly, and then we have gray for sophistication. You heard how I said that, right? Luxury, balance. We have gray for that. So, and then according to the image there, you can see different logos that use these colors. So, looking at something like Spotify now, you're just happy. Like, there's just this like fresh or happy feeling, and they are like, yes, I want to listen to music. And then maybe when you pick up Oreo or something, there's okay, something nice or sweet is inside here, or just that, okay, this is a dependable, I know it to be sweet even though I've not tasted it. The same way, I don't know if you've come across a snack, you haven't tasted this snack in your life, but for some reason you don't like it because of how it looks. Maybe it looks old, or it looks like it's too be sweet. I don't know if you've come across it, but I've come across this a lot. I've seen maybe snacks or a book, and I'm like judging the book by the cover. I'm like, this book will not be interesting, or this snack will not be nice, or I'm not buying this color of book, or I'm not buying this color of pen or something. Not because it did anything or it won't get the job done, but I'm not just getting the feel I want to get from it, or it's giving me bad feels. Like I'm seeing maybe a biscuit named egg something. I'm like, will I not be tasting egg inside biscuits? What kind of biscuit is that? So there are things like that that can influence your decisions and perceptions. And definitely, if you're creating something for a baby, and let's come back to UI. Can you all hear me, please? All right, so let's come back to UI. If you're creating something for children, you want to use a lot of colors. If you're creating something for maybe mothers, you see more of pink. You see more of okay, bright colors, because it's also like mother and baby, and maybe like sky blue, baby pink. Those are like colors for mothers. When you are doing something for gamers, you see like this strong purple, this strong pink, And then when you are doing things for like which one again? Let's see. Hey, restaurants, which we'll be treating today, we'll see things like yellow, red, and things like that. So that's literally how color works. It can influence a decision or give a perception about a brand. If you look at bank apps now, most of them fall under purple. Kuda, Cheaper, Payaza, they're all purple. If you look at UBA, red, so you have purple, red, blue. Most banks usually fall under purple, red, blue. We are looking at blue. We have First Bank, we have Access Bank. There's this, is it Keystone Bank or so? If you're looking at red, we're looking at UBA, we're looking at Global's Bank. So these are colors that, oh, when I see this, there's just this mental perception that, oh, you're probably, are you a fintech company? But maybe when I'm coming to somewhere like Apple now and I'm seeing like different colors, I'm like, am I on the right Apple website or am I on a scammer's Apple website? So that's kind of how it is basically. So let's move on. So let's look at restaurants. Okay, we'll be looking at restaurant logos and just how colors actually subconsciously influence things. So a lot of restaurants, we see them using colors of red, yellow, blue. Why? Because these colors can be associated with hunger or food. Look at it. KFC is red. Pizza Hut is red. If we come to Nigeria, what's book? Okay, is Booker red or orange? I can't remember. But there's this company that is red. Help me, help me with Nigerian restaurants. Um, if you look at Dodo Pizza, you see orange, and I mean we have orange, red, yellow, blue. We have Domino's and here Domino's is in Nigeria. We have red and blue. We have Burger King in Nigeria, red and blue and yellow. So these things are just colors associated. The place now, yellow and red. Chicken Republic, yellow and red. So these things are like Mr. Biggs is red. So these are colors associated with hunger. And that's why you find a lot of fast food restaurants using these colors. And at first you might say, oh, it's just the logo, but it's not just the logo. People that intentionally chose their logos, I mean, we can see the difference. And I mean, there's always the 1% that would like to stand out, like Taco Bell in this one, and a few others out there. So, but definitely, when you use the colors that are naturally associated with the colors for whatever your brand stands for, it's easier for them to merge in or be wanted or be requested for. Yeah. So let's go on. So there's this thing called the color wheel. Okay. So the color wheel is a circular diagram of colors arranged by their chromatic relationship. I know I'm using grammar, but I'll try to break it down as much as possible. It's a visual tool that helps designers choose color combinations that work well together. Okay, so the color wheel, in simple terms, is literally just all the colors, like whatever color you find or create is coming from one of these colors you're looking at right now. How? I don't know, but they figured it out. And basically, when light goes through a sphere, it's kind of split into the rainbow, which is red, orange, green, right beef, red, orange, green, blue, indigo, violet. So that is it basically. So all the colors of the rainbow, which are all the colors they are. Now you cannot be choosing different shades or different hues, which we'll still talk about. Like, okay, let it be dark red, let it be light red, let it be dark pink. Everything somehow falls within the colors. And then where do we find these colors? On the color wheel. So the color wheel kind of just shows us all the colors there are. And then you can even see the picture I showed you, still a split of existing colors. The main set of colors we have are the colors of the rainbow. And then when you split them, you can get variations. And then how light or how dark will now give you different shades of the color. So that's literally the color wheel. So let's talk about color theory. Okay, I hope we're still together. Yes, the color has the rainbow has 7 colors, but from those 7 colors, you now have your potato red or silver blue or whatever, but everything can be found, like everything started from the rainbow, all sets of colors. So it's now how dark is it, how light is it, how bright is it, different things like that, or what. Yeah, that's it basically. Then we now have our neutral colors because so black is the absence of all colors and white is all the colors together. Then gray are when you're adding white to black, you get different shades of gray. So I think that just color. So you have absence of color, black. You have all the colors, rainbow. You have all the colors merged together, white. And then when you start mixing white in all of them, you have lighter shades. And when you start mixing black in all of them, you have darker shades. So that is literally how all the colors work. So now, let's talk about color theory, which is how colors come together. So we have a red, yellow, blue primary school. And then when you mix your red, yellow, blue, you have orange, green, violet. And those are the 6 colors. Yeah. So, yeah, and then there are 2 types of colors, or 3, because there's a tertiary, but then 2 major, especially in design. We have a primary and a secondary colors. So color theory is a system that guides designers in understanding how colors interact and how they can be combined to create visually pleasing designs. So now, when you want to design, you need to know what colors go together. Just because you have all the colors in the world on your laptop does not mean you can use all the colors in your design. Just because you know the colors to use for your design doesn't mean you can use all the same shades for your design. You need to find the balance, okay? And understanding color theory is kind of the foundation to that. All right? Yeah. So let's move on. So now that takes us to color schemes, all right? And this is kind of how you pick your colors, all right? And especially in design, it's important to pick your colors well. So I'm going to talk, there are different ways of picking your colors, trust me, but these 4 are like the most basic and important ways of picking your colors. So we have the analogous. Okay, let me define it. Color schemes are intentional combination of colors that create a harmonious or visually appealing effect in design. Different schemes serve different purposes depending on the project's goal. So how are you going to combine your colors? How are you going to pick your colors? Yes, you can color, but you want your colors to rhyme. So remember the color wheel, which is kind of what we have here, but this is like a breakdown. So outer is dark, inner is light. So that's why it's looking like this. So when you're starting from the center, you're like starting from white towards black. So it's the brightest at the center and it gets darker as you come out. I hope we're together. We can see it here. We can see like lines around. So if you see the center is white, as you're coming out is light, but it's getting darker as you're getting to the edges of the circle. Okay. So now when you want to pick analogous colors, this is where you pick 3 colors that are together on the color wheel. So the color wheel was not arranged by mistake. They didn't want to arrange. I think they followed the order of the rainbow actually, and then arranged in such a way that from these different formats or ways, sorry about that, if you pick it in a different format or ways, you actually get colors that match. So let's look at analogous, and the example here is red, orange, and yellow. Red, orange, and yellow match, okay? And then you can pick different shades and different different shades, basically different shades or hues of the red or the yellow or the orange, but they would go well. Try it out. But definitely you want to balance it with white and black, and then know how you want to use. Okay, what is the primary color? Is the primary color red? Then maybe I can use 1 or 2, or maybe for icons or something, and yellow to just like, there'll always be the one that would take like 60%, one that will take like 30%, and one that will take like 10%. Don't worry, we're together. So there's a color that will be everywhere. Maybe the primary color, okay? That will be the colors of the buttons, everything. And then there'll be the color that you just see here and there that will just maybe beautify it, maybe to create like a contrast, okay? And then there'll be the color that will just add differentiation somewhere, maybe just add the line in between. Don't forget there's still white and black, okay? So the analogous colors, are just taking 3 colors from the color. We can't beside each other and they would match. Try it out. If like another example here is blue, green, and I think blue and purplish. So blue, green, and purple. Try it out. Purple, pink, and red. Try it out. Things like that. Then there's monochromatic. So that's when you're only taking 1 color. But you're not just using one color, you're using one color with different shades of that color. Okay. So you can use dark, and the example here is red. So you can use dark red for some things, you can use light red for other things, you can use lighter red for other things. Usually, it depends on how you want to effect this, right? Like you want to use one color for one side, but usually this is best for maybe active state and inactive state. So you can use the darkest color for active state and the lightest shade of that same color. Okay. Then we have complementary colors, which are opposites, like two colors opposite the color wheel. So red and blue will work, purple and yellow will work, orange and purple or indigo will work, green and purplish pink will work. So just look at it and see what works. So just pick two colors that are directly opposite. So that means they are complementary. Monochromatic, one color, analogous, three colors beside each other. Then triadic are four colors. So it's just complementary times two. Okay, so in the form of an X, just pick two colors, one color and the one opposite it, and another color and the one opposite it. So one color, the one opposite it, leave space. The second color and the one opposite it. You can turn it as much as you want. Those four colors will somehow match. The math behind it, I don't know. It just happens to work fine. All right. So I hope we're still together. So that's a way to pick colors. So maybe if your color of your brand is blue and you're like, what can I match with this blue? Will and see, what color is one opposite this blue, or what color is beside this blue, or what color is like if I cross it or something that works. And there's even a site, Adobe Color. It helps with picking colors. There's literally this site called Coolors. It helps with picking colors, so you can just know what colors to use for your brand and all. And then you can literally go on ChatGPT. I'm doing a brand for a plant-based site. What color should I use? So triadic, let me just say that again. Twice. Complementary is one color and the one directly opposite it is something like this. I don't know, you can see red velvet. Why is it moving? You can see red velvet, right? Can we all see red velvet in this wheel? The one directly opposite it is yellow green. Okay, so red velvet and yellow green are complementary. If you now want to pick, okay, what color can I match with this red velvet and yellow green? You can pick red, orange, and blue green. So red, orange, and blue green are complementary. Red or velvet and yellow green are complementary. When you pick it in form of like an it's simpler, just keep a gap in between. All four will match perfectly. And then you can do all shades of red velvet, that's your monochromatic. And then you can pick violet, red violet. I don't know why I was saying velvet. Violet, red violet, and red. And three colors, that's this thing. Analogous, three of them would work and match perfectly. So let's go on. All right, so now we are on hue and saturation. I hope you all understand. I don't know why food is on my mind. I hope we all understand what I have explained, which is the important part. Don't go and say red velvet. This one is actually for color. So let's go to hue and saturation. So hue is determined by measuring the difference between white light and various colors of white. I'm using big grammar again. In contrast, saturation is determined by the amount of gray in color. So what's hue? Literally colors. Make it simple for you. Hue is the color you see. Hue yellow, hue red, hue green, just different colors, all right? And saturation is now how much gray is in that color. So when you reduce the saturation to 0, your color will be gray. But when you increase it to the end, your color will be 100%. And then value is not like how bright or how dark. So if you pick yellow, it can be very bright, and that same yellow can be very dark. So like how close is it to? So the highest one will be like probably white, and then darkest will be black, and then in between will be like light and dark shades of that yellow you chose. I hope that explains it. So let's start again. Hue are colors. Let's throw away all the grammar. Hue are colors. Saturation is how much gray is in it. So the higher the saturation, the more the color is, and the lower the saturation, the less like it's towards gray, which in actual fact kind of lead you to like a black and white version. So it's just grayed out, like you're just moving towards gray. And then value is like how bright or how dark. So now you're moving towards white or moving towards black. Like how bright is it? How dark is it? I hope we're all on the same page. And then manipulating these different things can create new shades of color, which is still the same color but with more effect and things like that. All right, so now we are looking at colors in UI. So colors in UI design are not just for aesthetics, as we've come to understand. It's not just to make things look pretty. They actually get things done. They're actually very functional. Okay. And they help in establishing hierarchy, ensuring usability, and guiding users through the interface. So colors can make you make a decision. Colors can tell you, give you feedback about something, maybe wrong password. You see wrong password in color red, dragging your attention to the fact that the password you put in is wrong. And then also establishing hierarchy. Maybe this is what comes first, this is what comes second, or this is the, even if they are the same size, this is a link and this is a normal text. So, or this is the title and this is the subtitle or a supporting text, that type of thing. So yeah, and then in like earlier said, we have a primary color, we have a secondary color, and we have our neutrals. So we have a primary color, that's probably the main color of the brand. We have a secondary color, which is the supporting color. Then we have our neutrals, which is like black and white, and then the more black, or if you keep adding white to black, you get shades of gray, and you have your neutral gray in between. Then your semantics, which are like information colors, which basically in most, like, should be in all designs depending on whatever you're building. So, and also depending on your brand, definitely. But yeah, depending on your brand, because warning can be yellow or red depending on your brand, but usually can be orange as well. You have error, you have info, and you have success. So whatever your brand says success is, it can be this shade of green, or it can be a darker shade of green, or a lighter shade of green. Your warning can be red, or it can be orange. Your error can be yellow, or it can be red as well, or whatever. And then info can be blue. So these are just the basics, basically, and they can change depending on your brand. So for everything, have your semantic, have your primary color, your secondary color, and your neutral color. Yeah. Your neutral color literally create the balance in your design, and your primary colors are usually for call to actions or to direct your user to what you want to stand out in your design. So what are what are colors used for? Primary actions, background and foreground. Is the background of your site black? It's advisable not to use black. So let's say gray or white or a gradient. I didn't even talk about gradient. Gradients are like mixture of two colors in different opacity and intensity, as well as size. So that's what creates a gradient. Then also, so you can use colors for your primary actions, your done, your submit. Those are primary actions. You can use for background and foreground, literally, and then you can use for consistent branding around. So for your font, your links, your call to action, just to know that okay, this belongs to this brand, or this belongs to this product, or this company, things like that. All right. So I've been talking a lot. So are we still together? Are you guys lost? Do you have any questions? Are we still together? Okay, why is it advisable not to use black? Because you don't want to be squinting to look at. Okay, so now, as much as we're designing for a digital product, definitely you view this digital product with a digital device, okay? And there's light coming out of the digital device. So if something is black, there's like so much contrast. And we know black kind of like absorbs color. So like if whatever is on it doesn't stand out, it's like whatever is on it to just be too much on you. But gray kind of softens it. And definitely if your site is something they'll be looking at for a long time. You don't want to be giving your users eye strain. So you can use gray, which is softer. It's not as like, try it out. Just try it out. Use all black and then put like font. You find yourself finding it hard to read, or whatever you're reading will just be too bright in your eyes. So gray just kind of soften it. So you can use a shade of black that, or a shade of gray that is dark but not black. So that will soften it. So you can use like a gradient to create more contrast, and it will be easier for them to like process the information on your site. So that's why it's advisable not to use black. Yeah. Now, black can be used for designs, but not something they'll be looking at a lot or reading from, so that they won't have eye strain. I hope that answers your question. So can design systems be changed by anyone other than the administrator? Design system is basically the branding. So unless your company changes the branding or your team lead wants to adopt a new style for the website, then it will be changed. But if you have no reason to change your design system, you're not doing a rebrand or an update on design, it really can be that way for years. And the good thing about design system, especially when they're components, is whatever you change updates throughout the website. So it saves time as well when it comes to updating and things like that. Black is good in branding, but it's not good as the background color for UI. So what we call black most of the time is actually dark gray, which is not completely black. So the hex code for black is 0000, but dark gray could be 010101, which is almost black, but it's not black. All right, so let's go on. Emphasis on the background, not the font or design or a graphic on the page, the background. All right, so let's continue. I hope we're all together. All right, so now what are the uses of colors in design? What are the uses of colors in design? Before I say this, let me just emphasize, share dark mode is most likely dark gray, but not black. And if they use black, it's probably something you will not be looking at for a long time. It's dark gray, trust me. It's most likely dark gray to black. All right, so let's continue. So what are uses of colors in design? Visual hierarchy. So if you want to highlight something important like a button, a headline, a call to action, you use colors. Brand identity. It reflects the brand personality and helps users recognize it instantly, just like Netflix. When you go on Netflix, you would see the red, and you just notice probably on Netflix, or I don't know how many people will see someone's phone and be like, is this Netflix or is this Prime? Or you just know, maybe you see the color and, oh, this is Prime. I don't even need to check the logo. This is Prime you're looking at. So that's another thing, brand identity, how colors contribute to brand identity as well as other elements in the design. Then what does color do again? It helps users guide through a process. So for example, green for success, red for error. So that's like it being a feedback or contributing to feedback. So if it's successful, you see you see green. And if there's an error, you most likely see red. Yeah. So let's go on. Then uses of color in design, emotion and mood. So colors can contribute to the emotion and mood. Like, I don't know, there's some sites you go on and you're just happy. You're just happy, or you're just like, okay, peace of mind. You're not feeling clustered. And there's some sites you go on and you're like, why? Who designed this? I need to talk to you. So emotions and mood, colors can contribute. And as we've seen how colors are used, because maybe colors associated with hunger are used by restaurants for their logo. So if you see it, your mind goes to fast food, and you most likely enter to get food if you fit into their target audience of hungry people. Then accessibility. Using high contrast colors ensures readability for all users, including those with visual impairments. Exactly. So you want to be able to use your colors to help people to be able to read. And you don't want to contribute to their visual impairment, but help people that have possible visual impairment. And then also, apart from colors too, some people are colorblind. So these are where lines come in. So maybe for a text now, if I selected a text and the color changes, I'll probably put a line underneath for people that can't see color, so they know that, oh, it has been selected, or I put a box around it, something like our menu, so I know that, oh, it's selected even if I can't see color. Then there's consistency as well. So repeating color patterns across screens creates a cohesive and professional experience. Not that we'll go on Netflix now, the first page is red, the second page is green, the third page is blue, and you're like, what am I on? Like, is this Netflix or WhatsApp? So you want to have consistency and have a cohesive and professional experience. I'm seeing a lot of questions, so let me just answer. So another thing for dark mode is it might not even be dark gray they use. They can use dark green depending on their brand. They can use dark blue. They can use dark purple. It is dark mode, but it's not black. So those are things that support as well. Okay, so look at this login screen, and let's see how colors contribute to it. Maybe before I talk, can one or two of us just point out where color is serving a purpose? I can see three major, maybe four, but I can see three different ways color is serving a purpose. Can we just point those three things out, or one of the three things out? What can you see color doing in this image? Okay, I can see error warning. Okay, the inputs. Lucia, user guidance. Where is it guiding them to? Just be more specific. Okay, red, wrong password, good. Red showing error, good. Okay, what else? Call to action, good. So that's which one is calling to action? Because I can see two. Which one is calling to action? Okay. Gray where, okay. So gray for the text. I didn't even think of that. True. So we know which one is welcome. We know which one is I can type inside. Go on. And yellow for getting ready. Please, where's the yellow? Gray highlight on blue. You guys are seeing colors I'm not seeing. Okay. Error, wrong password, good. Blue calling next. Okay. Calling for action. Yes. So, okay. Forgot password and calling to action. Okay. So that is good. It's also, I'm seeing someone saying white for purity. So in UI, the white there is not necessarily for purity. The white is probably for clarity, so they can see what is on the site, not really a purity, unless it's like a site that maybe minimalist site that has more of black and white that you can have like a luxury or purity. But right now, or on this, like this example, is not even trying to explain, just like simplicity, that okay, let's go straight to the point. I'm not a creative site where you see colors and everything. This is different from Discord's login that you see illustrations of cartoon. This is Google that, okay, I'm serious, but at the same time I'm colorful, but at the same time you're logging into your Gmail, so I don't want you to make a mistake. So that's probably the choice of why they use white. And in the dark mode, it's probably dark gray and things like that. All right, so yeah, so let's just run through. The colors here are red. We can see wrong password. So red is telling you like, yo, what you put in here is wrong. And if I'm colorblind, I can see the icon and the text literally saying wrong password. Try to click forgot password to reset it. Another thing color is calling is forgot password. So I can click on it and get my password back. But then it's not a major action. It's not like the main action I actually want them to do. The main action I want them to do is click on next. All right. Forgot password is just a supporting action. So the main action is next, which is also blue, but then it's in a box. And these are how elements contribute to different functions in the site. And then you can click on next, continue, but you can also click on forgot password. So both of them are clickable, but serving two different things. and then we have the logo and stuff like that. All right, great work, all of you. Okay, so let's move on. Yeah, contrast, clarity, that's good for the white. So before we go into typography, do we have any questions? Typography is quite large, and we have a quiz, and we can call it a day. We'll soon be going on our break in the next 9 minutes. So do we have any questions? Are we good? Do you need me to clarify anything before we dive into typography? Typography is large, so if you have any questions, speak or forever be silent. I'm just joking, but yeah, this is the best time to talk about it or ask about it. Do we have any questions? Okay, so someone asked, why is forgot password not in the box? Forgot password is not the primary action here. The primary action is to click on next, because whoever is coming here is trying to log in. Forgot password is a supporting action to, in case you can't log in, then try and retrieve your password. That's why it's not in the box. Okay, so is it okay to use an entirely different color from the brand to design a newly integrated feature, more like a reward feature that involves playing games or some exciting activity? If it is a branch out from the product's core existence or is something different, you can, one, either use the colors of the brand because it relates directly to the brand, or if it's like a product again, you can use different colors that represent what that product or that game or whatever extra feature will do. So you can change the colors there, but then again, it depends. Is it a core part of the brand? Is it something playful? Who are the target audience? So you still do this color psychology basically for whatever colors you'll be using for whatever you are building in app or an extension of the application. Okay, so Falipa is asking about design system. Design system is like a brand guide, quote and unquote, for UI design. It's a brand guide where it talks about the colors, the fonts, the buttons, the elements, basically the cards. It can be as large as possible to use while designing, to talk about, okay, when this button is active, how will it look? When this button is inactive, how will it look? When someone places a comment, how will it look? So reusable element, and basically like the foundation of whatever you'll be building. That's what it is. So just look at it as a book talking about what makes up the product. So what makes up the website, what makes up the web application, and then you can get elements from it. And when you edit it, it's created in such a way that when you edit it, you edit directly wherever it's applied. We'll still look at components when we start practical. And also it saves time when you're designing, because now you know what font to use, know what colors to use while you're designing. So it just speeds up your design process, and it helps whoever comes newly to understand, oh, okay, this is the font they use, this is the color they are using, and it's easy for me to just ease into the design process. It also helps developers create their classes, know what font to use, know what colors to use, and things like that. So I think that's the best way to describe what a design system is. Yes, you can use gradient for backgrounds. It doesn't have to be white, but then when you're using gradients, you have to be careful about contrast and the purpose of the gradient, and where to be, how much of the page will it cover, how are you using it? Is it just different accents to complement it? And definitely you don't want it to be interfering with your text. So yes, you can use gradients, but you just need to know how you apply it such that it's easy for people to still see things on your site and stuff like that. Yes, we should complete the basics of typography today. Yes, colors of pigments is definitely different of colors of light and colors of digital screen. They all work differently, even though they look the same. Yes, blue can, yeah, blue and yellow can stimulate hunger. I don't think blue alone, unless on a biscuit, but then it's mixed with other colors regardless. But yeah, it's one of the colors for hunger. That's why I see some snacks like Oreo now is blue. Which snack is there again? There's this coconut chin chin that is blue as well. I don't. That's the original. I think it's coconut. I think grandma something. Coconut chin chin is blue as well. So people use blue. And blue is with vanilla. You see, Hollandia is blue. Water is blue. So color palettes. So colors are part like colors of the rainbow. Let me just simplify. Colors are colors of the rainbow, and then it can be arranged in a color wheel, which is all the colors in a circle, and then it can be broken down further. Like if you split two color, like one color. Every color, let's just look at it. Every color is like colors of the rainbow, and then it can be either very dark or very light or mixed with another color. And that's what gives birth to so many other colors, which we talked about, the hue and saturation and I think it's here, and value. So when you play around with all these three, you get different types of colors, but the basics are the hue. And what is the hue is the Roy beef: red, orange, green, blue, indigo, violet. And you can still split, okay, let it be dark blue, light blue, or maybe when blue is easing into orange or orange is easing into red, there's that shade in between. But if you break everything down, you still get all the colors of the color wheel. And then we've talked about how to pick colors, and then this is like the complete breakdown. And then we've talked about how to pick colors, which colors will match each other and things like that. Okay. So yes, you should get the slides. Yeah, so hex colors exist. So for every digital color, there's a hex code. Yeah. And there are also there's the RGB code. I think there's one other type of code, but the popular one is hex code and RGB code. Or format, basically. You can't know all color codes, please. Don't even try. But color codes will probably be in your design system, so you know the exact shade to use for your brand. It's not just because First Bank uses blue doesn't mean it's the same blue in Access. Both of them are blue, but they're not the same blue. I think Access blue is tilting towards purple, and First Bank blue is tilting towards sky blue or so. So they are not the same shade. So that's why it's important to know the hex code. And no, you cannot know all the hex codes. You just know popular ones as you go by, as you design, but you can't know everything, trust me. You can't know all the colors too, but I think there's just this subconscious. The more you design, the more you do something, the better you get at it. Okay, so sometimes subconsciously, I don't know how to explain, but I think it's just the gift of creativity God has given us. You look at two colors and you know they match or you know they don't match. Okay, you look at two colors and you know they match and you know they don't match. From experience, from learning, from trying colors out, from studying colors, or from looking at pictures. And even as you go about your daily life, just look at trees, look at everywhere, look around, look at buildings. Say, why did they paint this building white and not black? Or why did they paint this window green and not yellow? And just look at merging and just learn. And all of this somehow influence your design at the end of the day. Okay. Okay. So I think I've treated most of the questions. If you have any more questions, please put it down. Yeah. So let's go on to typography. So we're going on a break by 8:05. So let me just start typography while we're waiting. So what is typography? Dun, dun, dun. Typography is the art and technique of arranging type. Like I said, ignore the big grammar, we will get to everything. Typography is the art of and technique of arranging type to make written language legible, readable, and visually appealing. It encompasses the selection and use of typefaces, font sizes, line spacing, and other aspects of text layout and formatting. I know we hear things like font, yeah, I think that's what we hear most of the time. We hear things like font, typography, typeface, like which is which, what is what. I'll try my best to explain as much as possible. But typography in itself is where you're understanding how did we even put this writing together? Why are we using this amount of space? Why is it longer than this? Why does the T have something at the end and not other T don't have something at the end? Why is the G written like this and another place the G is written differently? I'm sure we've seen A, especially A is written like this, another A is written like the C and the one beside it. So why do they look different? Why are they together? Why is one higher than one? What is each part called? Honestly, that is typography. How do I arrange type together? So how do I arrange Typography together? Should I space it out? Should I shrink it together? Should I stretch them? Everything is discovered. Should they be thick and bold? Should they be thin and tiny? Why would I use a tiny font? Why would I use a thick font? Everything, understanding all of that is what typography is. So you definitely see where a thick font is probably used for the title and a smaller, thinner font is used for the text. You probably see something where type is telling you that, oh, you can click on this, no, you can't click on this, or go here, like maybe, okay, this is probably the label, like what is your name? I can't click on what is your name, I have to click on what is underneath, like the space to write my name. So things like that, and the subtle communications. We also have the psychology of typography, which we would also look at. So let's just understand that typography is literally the art and technique of arranging type to make written language legible, also pass across a message. You want it to be readable and you want it to be visually appealing. Yes, you can use type to design. No, hey, I think there's a picture in our slides that where type and picture just came out so beautiful. And it's not the only purpose it's serving is just to give that effect of okay, professionalism. It's not as if it's calling you to click or anything. Just okay, it's actually calling you to look at the image. So there's that. So and then it encompasses selection of typefaces, which we'll talk about more. Line spacing, the space between two lines, letter spacing, the space between two letters, and then as we can even see the picture, if you look at T, the down part is called stem, the top part is, or the space is like capite, the first letter is uppercase, lowercase, terminal. Yeah, like we have different parts of type. I'm not here to give you a degree in typography, but it's just to help you understand that everything is intentional. It doesn't just fall from the sky. And no, you don't need to know everything. You just need to understand how it works, and then with time, it comes subconsciously. Like now, if you ask me what fonts can be used for websites, I already know like three before they tell me, oh, this is the one for the brand. So things like that is what you get to know along the way. So we'll be going on a break now. If you have any questions, just put it together, and when I come back, I'll try to address them. We'll run a bit because we have a lot to cover and we'll still have a quiz. So I'll see you all very soon. Thank you. Wait, all right. So I'm taking a question like give us three fonts. Yeah, you can use Montserrat, you can use Poppins, you can use Satoshi. Those are three fonts, literally. And they'll do a great job. Oh, all right, guys, welcome back. Questions, let me know about them before we continue. Okay, I can see some of you put fonts. Yeah, you can use all those fonts, but then again, fonts have branding, so it's not just any font you use. You can't just come with one cursive wedding font when it's not a wedding and you want to use for a bank app like maybe GT Bank. Like that would just be so wrong. But if it's a wedding site, and here perfect, can use it for a wedding site. So yes, fonts also influence brand. The choice of fonts depends on whatever products you're using, but definitely there are the defaults that no matter what, it is, still makes sense, which we have mentioned and some of us have mentioned as well. Okay, so let's move on. So what are the uses of typography? We use it for hierarchy, readability, visual aesthetics. So what's hierarchy? This is where we have like, okay, this is the progress of how we read. Remember, we all read from left to right. So your headings, your subheadings, your body text, how is it arranged? Why is one bigger than the other to show you that, oh, this one is smaller because it's the subheading. This one is the smallest because it's the text or it's the body text. So that's kind of how text creates hierarchy. So when you're reading, you know which is which, and it helps with the whole understanding and all. Then we now have readability. Definitely, it helps you like to be able to read better, to make it easy to read. You can't come and use serif font for body text. It will be difficult to read. Or you can come and use script. We'll still learn all I'm saying. But if you use like a font that is cursive now, that is calligraphy, and you're telling me, and I have to read like 100, like terms of an agreement in calligraphy, like I'll not even bother. I'll just scroll up and click on okay. So you want readability. So that is influenced by like the typography you use or the font you use is very important when it comes to that too. So yeah, and then also for readability, you want to look at the line height, you want to look at the spacing. Definitely, we think texts that are close together, we think it's part of each other. But when the spacing is too much, we think they are two different things. And if they're together, that defeats the purpose of reading it at once. So you want to look at the spacing, the line height, and the font. Then visual aesthetics. Yes, fonts can be used to beautify. Just like the picture we have here. See the way the A is pretty and is actually literally used to beautify. So yeah, let's go on. So we now have the typography psychology. Okay. What is typography psychology? This is the study of how the style and appearance of text affects how people feel, think, and behave. Exactly how color type psychology was able to influence how people think, behave, the action they'll take, guide them is exactly the same way typography contributes to this. It's the exact the same way other elements contribute to it, shapes, colors, and stuff like that. So also typography has its own psychology, and I'll show you as we go on. So example is bold large fonts grab attention. And can you all hear me, please? Can we confirm you can hear me, please? Okay. So, for example, bold large fonts grab attention and feel powerful. So when you see something bold, your eyes just go there. Ah, what is this? And probably it's the welcome to so and so site, or we are all about technology, or welcome to gaming platform, whatever your intro text is, your intro text is. Then we have your elegant script fonts that can make you something feel luxurious or romantic, like maybe a wedding website. You see all the cursive that Ola Maris are they just see the whole cursive and everything. So you're like, oh wow, beautiful. And then clean modern fonts that can make a brand feel trustworthy and professional. So when you come on somewhere like which site is fine now? Maybe somewhere like Pairs are now, when you see everywhere is neat, the fonts are modern, everywhere is clean, your mind is like, oh, I can trust this brand. I like the emotions or the vibes that is giving me. Okay, let's go. Let's get this job done. Let's do this transaction. So yeah, in UI UX design, typography psychology helps designers to choose fonts that matches the brand's voice. Okay, so as earlier stated, who are your target audience? What does your brand represent? Influences the type of font you will use, or if you even need to create a font from scratch. And then it also helps to create the right emotional experiences for users. Okay, so let's look at this, see how fonts come into play. On the left, you can see it in, okay, maybe there are blog posts, and then there's like an introduction, products, and then at the bottom, we can see different other blog posts. We know that, oh, this is the title, and we can see images. And then in the next picture, we can see the menu. And at the bottom, we can see like social media platform. We can see that why is Instagram under the menu, because it's a different set of information and it's not the core attention right here. The core attention right here is click on a menu item, which could be work, which could be services, which could be about. When I'm putting Instagram, there's like, is Instagram part of what you want to click on, or is it social media? But now, even with the absence of the icons, there's still a clear hierarchy of what is the menu and what is the social media. I know it's a bit tiny, but at the bottom is social media. There's um Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and in the middle is the menu, work, services, about, stories, products. So that hierarchy is the difference. Yeah. So it's also, it shows you that, oh, you can also use typography to like serve a purpose. It's not just writing. There's a reason why it was used, and there's a reason why it's this size, and there's a reason why one is bolder than the other. Same with the one on the right. We can see built with Germany, and then we can see the title or the subheading, and we can see the body text. We can see like a little excerpt to just give more information. So you can see big text, small text, white text, like different color of text. So like it's all serving a purpose. It's not just there. And then on the right, and this is the one I was talking about, how luxurious, stylish life, and then we see the picture. So it's telling me what is Off-White about. Off-White is all about luxury and it's a stylish life. So it's just talking to me, and okay, what next? How do I make a purchase? Like coming to this site, I'm like, wow, beautiful. What next? What should I do? Like I'm enjoying how they received me. It's not just I'm coming on a site and I don't even know what this brand is about. And without a lot of writing, you already have an idea of what they do. They sell clothes, and they don't just sell clothes, they sell luxurious, maybe sportswear or things like that. So that's literally how typography affects or come into question or support UI design. So this is a good example. Can we spot the difference? I mean, they're the same words, but can we spot the difference? I mean, this difference is very clear. I will always find you. And I will always find you. So this just shows us that the fonts you use also influences your decisions. One that is very simple and cutesy, and they even has hearts, dots. I will always find you. It's like a love message. Like, oh my gosh, I would always find you. And the other one is I will always find, like horror. Like I don't even want you to find me. So that's literally how fonts works. One can be like beautiful site I trust, and one can be like, if I use this site, I know they sent you to me. So that's how, like, this is the psychology of font. The same exact words meaning two different things because of the font they used. Okay, so this is one part where a lot of people confuse things. I'm saying typography, saying font. So what is typography? What is typeface? And what is font? What is typography? What is typeface? And what's font? Do any of us want to just try out before I go on? What do you think typography is? What are they the same thing? Or are they different? Sure, say one is life and the other is death. That's true. Okay, so do any of us want to just define what typography or typeface or font is? Typeface is the letter. Um, Close, but no. Okay, close, very, very close, but no. It's not just the letter. It consists of the letter, but it's not just the letter. Okay, typography encompasses the font spacing and all. Yes, it's like the art of putting together a word, basically. Everything that goes into putting together a word digitally, typography. Okay, typeface is the family name for fonts. We're getting there. That is very, very close, but no, because of wordplay. But I think I get what you mean. Typeface is a set of characters of the same design, including letters, numbers, punctuation. Yes, okay, we have one. Typography is the arrangement of typeface. Okay, typography is the arrangement of type. Typeface is just how the fonts look. Fonts are the different names for type. I see a designer there. Typeface is the letters, numbers, and other symbols in the design. No. Close, but no. Typeface is font family. However, no, no, no. Um, if we come to code, no, it's not. It's not. It's not. Font family is like a family of fonts, basically. So it's not. Font is the style of the alphabet. No. All right, so you guys have tried a lot. Let me just continue so as not to waste more time. But I love all these inputs. Yeah, David, you're very close. So let's go on. So what's typography? We've defined it. So typography is the overall art and technique of arranging type. The fact that I'm putting, like, maybe I should have put more examples, but we've definitely seen text spaced out, like welcome. The same welcome can be like spaced out, so much spacing between, can be close together. Maybe on a poster now, it can be very large, can be very small, it can be cursive, could be playful. Different thing could be up down, but it's still saying welcome, right? So the way I put it together, the art of putting it together to convey an information is typography. It's just the art of putting words together or letters together to form a word. And when I'm putting it together to mean different things, I'm considering the line spacing, I'm considering the point sizes. Subconsciously, you won't start naming line space this, but you just know, oh, the space between this thing is too small, it's too long. Let me increase it, let me reduce it. Or the space between these letters is too much together or too far apart. Let me increase it, let me reduce it. You might not start saying, oh, what's the word they called it in? Oh, leading. What's the word they called it? Oh, kenning. You don't have to stress yourself out of that. Just know what it is and then apply it accordingly. So the literal art of just putting letters together to form a word, the art and technique of arranging type, that's typography. So what's typeface? Typeface is a bit more different. So this is the design style of a set of characters. I'll try to take this a bit more slower so we understand. So now, when we put characters together, we have a word. The art of putting characters together is typography. When we put, like now, we have a word, hello, okay, fine. We have the word man, woman. What the way to now look, there are categories of how it can look, which will now lead us to what fonts are. So the categories of how it can look is what we call typeface. Okay, so the design style of a set of characters is what we call typeface. So now we have different types of typeface, of which different fonts fall under. I know we mix it up a lot, but it's different. Okay, now typefaces can be a lot, but we have like the three major, which is script, serif, and sans serif. Look around. I mean, as we learn from this class, when you go out, just look, just say, oh, This logo, they use serif, they use sans serif, they mix serif and sans serif. So what is serif? Serif is, okay, let's start with what's serif. Serif is a font that has, or yeah, it's a font or a typeface, or is, let me use typeface, a typeface that has extra, um what they call it now, let's say it has a bracket or a terminal according to the description here. So this font, this typography is actually a sans serif font, okay? Or a sans serif typeface. How do I know it's, so it's a serif, gosh, I'm talking too much. It's a serif typeface. How do I know it's a serif typeface? It has all this stuff at the end. T has like this stuff shooting out at the bottom. You can see it white, so you can see it like shooting out. But if you look at the top title of typography, so I'm talking about two things here. I'm talking about the image and I'm talking about the title of this slide. The title of this slide is typography, yes, and the picture here is the picture of the word typography, annotations all around. So if you look at the title of this slide, typography, you can see it doesn't have, will I call it extenders or strokes or extenders? It doesn't have it. So that's, it doesn't have a serif. And I think, is it French or so? So that's like sans serif without serif. So that's how I know it's a sans serif font. But if you look at the picture, it has all those stuff like Times New Roman now. That is type font that is sans serif. So to easier, or to say this more easily, is typeface is kind of the house for fonts. So all fonts follow that different typefaces. So your Arial, or your Times New Roman, your Poppins, your Montserrat, they fall under different typefaces. Okay. So this font here, the fonts used in these two places are two different fonts, one that has a serif and one that doesn't have a serif. And I think we can now understand. So now we can see rounded serif, we can see slab serif, we can see handwritten, one that looks like someone's handwriting. We can see script, which is usually used for these wedding wedding designs or wedding websites. You can see black letter that has this olden day vintage feel, calligraphy feel. We can see display, we can see monospace that is more like minimalist. So these are different typefaces. Are there more typefaces? Yes. We still have slab script, we have different types, but these are like the basics, okay? And most of the time, people fall within serif and sans serif. And then we still have slab serif, rounded serif, where instead of the end being square, it's recurved. So we have different things, like the first option here, this Cooper Black. And thank God for this image. You can see example of sans serif, we have Arial. Example of serif, exactly, Times New Roman. That's like the perfect example. Example of slab serif, we have Rockwell. Example of scripts, we have Dancing Scripts, and monospace, we have Anonymous Pro. So this, the best way to describe the best way to describe typeface is like a powerhouse of different fonts. So all the fonts in the world fall under different typeface categories. So now sans serif, under sans serif we still have Poppins. Under sans serif we still have Railway. I think Railway fonts under sans serif. Yes, we still have different fonts. How do I know these fonts? I did not sit down and cram them. It's based on working on different designs and literally looking for fonts to do for a design and things like that. Which learn, the more you design, the more you look at templates. Maybe you can pick out the template of a website, or even inspect a site. Oh, what font did they even use for this site? Or just go online, Google what's the name of your font and things like that. Or Google what's the best font to use for a wedding website or a wedding design, and they'll just give you different script fonts and like, okay, there's or maybe Biloxi, American Signature. You just get to know them over time, okay? So I think that's the best way to describe. So I hope we now know what a typeface is. It's a design style for a set of characters. So characters can look different ways. They say the same words. The same typography can be written with a sans serif font. The same typography can be written into a serif font, can be written into a script font. And we've come to understand from typographic psychology that when you use these different typefaces, you're communicating different things. So when you look at sites communicating trust, you'll most likely see sans serif. Corporate, you most likely see sans serif. If it's more baby casual, you most likely see handwritten, because it has that playful look. If it's, and also display too, so it may be a mix of display and handwritten, and they're like, oh, this is a baby website. But something like wedding or luxury, we can see something like script. But not just script, you probably pair it with a sans serif or a serif, depending on what you're trying to communicate. So yeah, font pairing is a whole different conversation. You can look that up online. And yeah, so let's move on to fonts. So what are fonts now? So you can see all these different fonts. They all fall under these typefaces. Arial black. Can someone tell us what Arial black is? Is it a serif or a sans serif or a slab serif? What's Arial black, or what's Arial? What fonts? What typeface does Arial fall under? Can someone just give me that? Beautiful. Arial falls under sans serif. Let's look at another one. Something like good dog on the right is on number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4 on the extreme right. Good dog. What typeface does that fall under? Handwritten. Beautiful. So you see now that all these fonts are from typefaces, okay? And the fonts are, as I'm talking now, someone is creating a font, so they are beyond everywhere. But definitely, if you see something you like on a site, you can check, oh, what font did they use? And you can bring it into your site. Nobody will judge you, and it's beautiful. So how do you adjust the font? Now we know what a font is. How can we adjust a font? There are different ways to adjust a font. I think this is the last thing I'll be talking about before we take our quiz, questions, and call it a beautiful night. So how do you adjust the font? You can customize it by adjusting its size, as we've seen for hierarchy. You can adjust the style for like should it be bold, should it be italic, should it be regular? Like on your right now, you can see different ways of adjusting. Maybe you'll make it bold, maybe you make it thin, maybe you make it italic, maybe you make it caps or small caps or capital letter or not a capital letter, uppercase and lowercase. That is the word, to be honest. Uppercase and lowercase. It can be italic, can be bold, it can be size 50, size 10. Then kerning. Kerning is the space. See, I don't think I've seen a design site where they literally use the word kerning. Maybe it's A and you'll see line on top and line below, or V and you see line beside or something. They'll just tell you ways to get the result you want. But the actual word, yes, is learning, kerning and leading. And what's kerning? Kerning is the space between letters. So you can increase it, can reduce it. Yes, there are tools, or there are options in the design tab. Remember, we looked at the design tab on Tuesday. So in the design section where you can adjust all of this for whatever reason you want to. And then there's leading, which is the space between letters to enhance readability. So that's like this line spacing. In size, maybe like Canva, you see something like line spacing. And then in Canva, you see something like letter spacing. Then we have strike through. You can strike through maybe to say sold, old price and new price. Maybe you're doing like a Jumia site now, so you can do old price, strike it, then new price. It communicates. I don't have to start writing old price was 10 naira, new price is 5 naira. I can just strike through and you get the message that old price was 10 naira is now 5 naira. Then there's underline. Underline can represent this is a link, and it can also bring about emphasis to it. So those are ways you can adjust fonts for different things. Can you create your own typeface? Yes. If it would be different from everything that exists, yes. I mean, everybody created. I don't know whoever created, but I know there was probably the beginning and then there was the supporting, and somehow they created typeface. So yes, you can create a typeface. But there's like the chance that it will still fall under an existing typeface and then you created a font. But yes, you can very much create a typeface. Okay, so now we've come to our Slido. Do we have any questions? Let me just be answering questions as we onboard. So today's zone is not 2 minutes, is 1 minute. So I need all of you to join. You can scan. A link will be sent to you. Let me just make that available. So now a link will be sent in the chat box of which you can, the comment box of which you can join, or you can scan the QR code, or you can go to Skillup.com and put the ID. The ID is 2182283, 2182283. Or you can literally type this bit.ly 4350L, capital K and D. So however you want to join, let's start joining because it's time for our quiz and we'll soon be done with our class. So let us start joining Slido. Okay, so someone asked what's the font name of my comment. I don't know the exact one YouTube is using, but from my end and inspecting, I can see the font family of Aveta STD regular area. Okay, STD regular, and then alternatives could be area, Noto Sans, prompts, but it's definitely a sans serif. Okay, please can we join this little link? We'll be starting shortly. What's kerning? Kerning is literally the space between two letters. The space between two letters. Maybe if you an example could be FedEx, okay? And you see that FedEx, there's space between the FED, but there's no space between D and E. FedEx, FEDEX, that's the logo. But there's space between FED. Sorry, there's not even space between FED. I'm looking at the logo now. Okay, there's no space between FEDEX. There's no space at all. The same way Apple has space between, the same way FedEx does not have space between, and absolutely no space between the D and E. So that's it basically. It's just space between letters. That's kerning. And leading is space between two lines. So let's say you're typing, right? Let me use this as an example. You see adjusting a font as the title of this slide, and you see a font can be customized by adjusting inside. That's like the body text. The space between adjusting a font and a font can be customized. That's the leading. You can see that is also different from comma kerning leading. A font can be customized, then underneath it is comma kerning leading. The space there is different from the space between adjusting a font and a font can be customized. I don't know if that explains it well. So the space between two texts or two words or two lines is leading. While if you look at the space between A and D and J, that's the kerning. So you can increase it or you can reduce it to create different effects. So for those joining the Slido, the code is 2182283, 2182283. Okay, so I'll be starting the quiz shortly. Start joining, start joining. People that are waiting for the link, try going to slido.com, slido.com, and click on the ID 2182283, 2182283. Then you can scan the QR code as well. We'll be starting the quiz shortly. Let others try and join. Let's just wait a bit for the others to join. So we'll start by 8:45. So the link has been put in the comment section. Kindly join by 8:45. We'll start the quiz. Remember, it's 1 minute, so as fast as you can. If it's a handwritten font, you just know, like the way it's playfully written, this looks like someone's handwriting basically. The same way cursive is script is probably cursive. The same way sans serif. You just look out for different pointers. The way sans serif is without serif. The way no serif has serif. The same way you just know handwritten looks childish. So this is probably a handwritten font. Looks like someone's handwriting literally. Don't worry, you can always rewatch the video on here and try the quiz. You never know, you might just get it right. So we have 1 more minute. We'll start shortly. Remember, 1 minute for each question. So as fast as we can. Okay. We're starting now. All right. So the answer is ensure consistency and efficiency across a product interface. That's the main purpose of a design system. Next question. All right, so what does color help with in UI/UX design? It guides users, creates emotions, and shows brand identity. It doesn't help code and it doesn't hide unnecessary features. Next. Hey, wrong link. Oh. Another link will be sent to those that can access the studio. So I'll just wait for you guys. We're already in number 3. So the question is, which of the following best defines typography? It is the art and technique of arranging type for readability and design. Okay. If you can't use the link, remember you can scan the QR code or you can type the bit.ly or you can literally just go to slido.com and type in the ID 218 The correct link has been sent. All right, so I want to start the next question. Try again, Florence. Another link has been sent. So there are 2 questions left, so let's just wait a bit. So by 8:50, I'll start. No, the quiz is not over. The quiz is not over. So next question. All right. So typography, or a difference between a typeface and a font. A typeface is design style. Remember, that's your serif and sans serif. While the font is the specific size and weight, meaning your Arial black or your area regular or your area whatever, but it's not the style. Like it's not the category basically, and it's not a digital version of a font, and they are not the same thing. All right, next question and last question. The last question is on. Oh. All right. So this is the answer. So what does typography psychology help designers do? It chooses fonts that matches a brand's tone and influences the user's emotion. So this is the leaderboard. Congratulations to our fastest hands. Our top five is Ibrahim Faiza, Ogunwo Daniel, Akintaji Victoria, Ibukunoluwa Fadipe. I think I've seen this name before. Oladapo Joseph. Thank you. You guys were the fastest hand. Average of 16 seconds. Ibrahim, well done. Thank you all to everyone. Let's put our 5/5 in the chat box. Woo! Congratulations. 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 So this call is coming to a close. We have about 7 minutes more. If you have any questions, this is where you mention it. Don't worry if you were only able to answer one or two. Don't worry. Next class we'll try again. And yeah. I think there should be an assignment for tomorrow, but let's see how it goes. All right, all right. 29 position. Yeah, I know that's still amazing. That's 29 over like 150 something. So you did well. You did well. Thank you. Thank you all for your 5/5. Amazing. That means we learned today. There's no I'm confused. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. 93rd. That's still amazing. Our fastest fingers. Thank you. That means we have our top students or people that are listening. But you guys did well. There's a lot of 5/5 today. Yeah, and that's all right. We came late. That's all right. We came late. That's all right. That means you still got the ones you did, even if you came late. So that's amazing. So if you have any questions, this is the time to say them. We have about 5 minutes, or we can even close before then if we're all good to go. And Florence, don't worry. Next time we can come with a 5/5. Amazing, amazing. How do you know it's handwritten? It looks like a handwriting, to be honest. That's how you identify. The way we were able to identify serif and sans serif is the same way different fonts have what makes them stand out, and then you know what goes to what category. How do you align a text in design? In the design section of Figma, we literally have alignment options. So you can center align, left align, right align, justify align. And this is similar to what you see in like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or wherever really. It's all similar. So you can left align, middle align, center align, right align, bottom align, top align. I think those are like the basic alignments. If you showed up in top 10, that's amazing. I'm proud of each and every one of you. What network do I use? I'm not here to help brands, but it has a yellow logo. Okay. Okay, for Pfizer, all right. All right, so in the absence of questions, I think we can call it a day. Thank you all so much. I had an amazing time. I hope you guys had fun. I was an interesting class. I mean, okay, so maybe you can drop what you learned. Let me hear one or two people. What did you learn in today's class? What did you learn in today's class? Okay, fine. That's what I figured. I'm a fast reader and typer. Okay, that's amazing. Oh, thank you, Hero. I don't even know, am I pronouncing your name well? Thank you, Hero Nick. All right, we can just say, what did you learn from class today? Since thank God we don't have any questions, that means we understood everything. Oh, thank you. All right. Thank you, Hero. All right, you learned difference between typography, the act of putting words together, yes. Type is the design style of the font, okay. Okay. Importance of color typography, yes. Color and typography and color science, more like typography and color psychology. Thank you, Lemba. Difference between typography, typefaces, and fonts, good. All right. Okay, color grade, kerning spacing between two letters, leading spacing between two lines, beautiful. Okay, you said that's the right pronunciation. Thank you. I'd like to ask where you're from, though. Then font usage. Okay, learned about font usage, Emmanuel. Design system and branding, beautiful, Christine. Colors are not just for aesthetics. Exactly, they have functional. They are used for functions as well. Hue is the color you see. Saturation is how much gray is in it. Beautiful silver. Oh, you're hearing typing for the first time today. Amazing, Elizabeth. Can you all hear me? Congratulations to the winners. Woo! All right, we have 1 more minute. Can still type in what you learned. Correct choice of color selection. Amazing. Yes, it can either be analogous, triad, monologous, let me not say too much. Monochromatic, thank you. Complementary, triadic. God bless you for the hey, see when someone listens. Thank you. All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you all. It's been an amazing time. I had fun. I enjoyed teaching this class, to be honest. Thank you. Do you have any questions, Emmanuel? You said you're a bit lost, but you can always rewatch the class. Oh, that's nice. Billinus Media, all the way from Benin. Great to have you here. All right, so it's 9 o'clock. I won't say we have two types of colors, Chris. But yeah, it's more than that when it comes to UI design. Way more than that. But we still come down to primary, secondary. And we have a neutral, then we have a colors for different actions and functions, like success color, warning color, error color. Then yeah, you can be artistic artistically inclined, but also functionally inclined, because your choice of color is not just for coloring. You're actually deliberate. Who are my target audience? Why am I using this color? How does it contribute to my brand? Is it even the brand colors? Because there's still the brand guide beyond the design system. And brand guide is what have like color combinations, logo combinations, how to use the logo, how to use social media, how to pair pictures, what type of pictures, how to like branded items like shirts, clothes, all those ones. So we still have the actual brand guide, but design system is for UI design in itself. Design system is before. Well, there's a bad practice of maybe you figured it out, you just winged it, or you got a template and you're like, okay, now I need to give them a design system. So you're picking out from what you used. But the right thing is actually have a design system prior. You now build on it to create your design. That is the best way. If your design has like 10 different fonts, then what design system or what will you now tell the person coming in to use? You have to be structured to a great extent before you start designing. All right. Okay. I think I've answered your question, Ianu. Don't worry, Esther. We'll try again. We're trying to see the best solution for the quiz. But I think today's timing was great, and we had a good turnout for the people that attended as well. All right, it's already past 9. Thank you all so much. I wish you all the very best. If you have any questions or I don't know, just want to reach out and say hi, you can always go to my LinkedIn or send an email. I'll try my best to reply each and every one of you. And I'll see you in the next one. See you guys tomorrow. So thank you all so much. God bless you. Have a great night.